Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video. This was a really fun one to put together. This is all about left-hand techniques that can make your playing sound more modern, such as hammer-ons and pull-offs and slides in different combinations thereof. These techniques are really central to my playing, and I definitely lean more in the jazz direction, and I've been inspired by different instruments like the guitar or horns or piano or violin. So I'm happy to show this stuff to you guys today, and if you haven't, please hit subscribe and you'll be aware of new videos coming out, and I'm excited for this one, so let's get started. So we're talking about different techniques that it can add style to your playing, embellishments. Instead of just playing each note, straightforward with pick strokes, you can do different things with your left hand that can give it a cool sound. So the first one we're going to talk about is the hammer-on, and this is exactly what it sounds like. You're basically hammering down or hammering the note with your finger as opposed to picking it. But first, you have to start out by picking a note and then adding another note to it with your left hand. So we're just, as an example, we're going to play C on my first finger. And there's a couple ways to do this. You can really, give it the style that you want, the finesse that you're feeling. Oftentimes I play kind of fast hammer-ons, but I'll show you. You can do it slow. So I'm going to play the note, and then I hammer on with that finger. So you have to do it with the confidence, and really it's going to sound best if you don't wait too long to play that next note with the hammer-on, because every second that you're letting go by, you're basically losing sustain. So that's why they're kind of more successful if you play it very soon after picking. So let me put this into context. I really use hammer-ons all the time. It just adds to kind of the legato sound that I go for, the smooth, just attack that I try to go for with my picking and everything. So here's an example right here. There, I just used 3 in one idea. All right, the next technique we're looking at is a pull-off. So what I'm going to do here is basically use one finger pulling off of the string, and that is going to help basically achieve the sound of the following note, of the next note. So oftentimes how I do this is that when I play the note, so I do it all in one fell swoop. So I'm plucking, I'm striking the string at the same time that I'm really kind of aggressively, you've got your finger down on the fret, on the string, fretting the string, and then pulling like that, so when I do that all together, it sounds like this. And I can do this all over the place. Obviously, any finger combination is gonna work. So let's look at this in context. A fun lick idea might be in the key of A, for instance. I'll use this one quite a bit. So I'm going to use my third finger, and I'm going to do this pull-off down to my second finger. And so that's from the 5th on E to this, the 4th note in the scale on my second finger on D. And so that can sound like this. Maybe I'll do it somewhere else. So you can see I can do it all over the place. But with this idea where my third finger is on the E, maybe I'll start here and do that, or I can start on the flat 5, and this one sounds really cool. So you can hear that note, but you kind of barely hear it with that pull-off. Okay, now I want to show you a technique. It's pretty straightforward, but I wanted to include it in this video anyway because it's really important for adding that, that sound, that style to your playing. It's a left-hand technique. This is the slide. I do this one all the time, and it just really adds a smooth sound, just a pretty sound to your playing. And once again, you can do this all over the neck with whatever finger, but I'm going to show you a few techniques. So oftentimes I slide up And so an example of that might be with my second finger or my third finger. Let's say that I'm in the key of C. Oftentimes I'm going to slide into the third, so the E note. You know, once again, with this technique, you can really put the finesse and that kind of feel on it that you want. You can do this fast. You can do slow slides. Now here I just did one where I slid back, and I'll show you this, that let's say that I'm in this position where my first finger is on C. So oftentimes if I'm here, I like to get down to that first position where my second finger is on C by sliding with my second finger from G to F. So for me, especially with shifting positions, the slide is really important, and you can just use this all over the place. Okay, now I want to show you guys this technique that maybe isn't so straightforward. It's a little bit of a combination of our first two moves, the hammer-on and the pull-off. And I think there's a name for this that's more official and kind of fancy, but when I was growing up and just kind of navigating all these different little nuances, I would always call this one the Hammeron Pulloff. Basically, it's a combo of both of those moves. And so let me show you what this idea is. Basically, let's say that we're going to be with our first finger and then doing this move with our second finger. So I'm going to have my first finger on G, and then I'm going to do this with this hammer-on pull-off on an A. And so the first way I'm going to do this is going to be without an extra pick stroke. So it's kind of, you know, more similar to like the way a hammer-on would not have that additional pick stroke, but it has the added pull-off. So that sounds like this. And you can hear that I can do this at different speeds, but normally it occurs in kind of in a faster context. So here it is. So here you can see that I'm also doing it with my second and third finger. You can just do this with any fingers that allow for that, you know, these different combinations. So there's even an additional way to play this where when you add a pick stroke in, it kind of gives it a little bit different nuance. So that might sound like this. So I'm doing the same thing to start, but then I'm adding a pick stroke in the middle. So really, I'm doing this hammer-on move, but it's almost that it's kind of doesn't even have the hammer on anymore, because by adding that additional pick stroke, it gives more power on the pull off. And so it's really, but the way I feel like I'm interpreting it, or that sound, that rhythm is being represented, it sounds like the same rhythm as this, which is almost like a triplet. Triplet, da da da. So when I add the additional pick stroke, it sounds like this. Okay, our last technique here that I'm going to show you is really a combination of all these different things. And this one sounds really cool. It's got a little bit extra grease on it. So we're actually going to be using the hammer-on. We're going to be using this pull-off, and then more hammer-ons. It's really just like several of those in the same phrase. So check out this move. So really I'm in the key of B flat. I'm landing on that B flat, and it could be, you know, maybe it could be like an F7 to a B flat, or you could just play it over B flat. So this is, you know, like I said, extra greasy. It's got some slipping and sliding in there. The first, let me break it down for you. So the first one, I'm doing a hammer on, and then I'm doing this pull off without picking. So then I go, those are picked notes. Then on the next string, on the G string, I'm actually doing a hammer-on, two hammer-ons. And then another little pull-off move without picking, and then landing on B flat. So our move is another variation on this. I can also, instead of doing that pull off, I can really do like a little slide.